a pretty sick one done for like 6 G's. I promise you. Like the idea that you're charging people 700, like that's all that budget increase was there for, dude. For people to just grift.
It's just waste. By the way, now I'm like, maybe TDR should get one. If it's only $6,000, maybe we could spring for like a new intro.
Why not? That's easy.
Do I get to keep the car? Anyway, well, we're gonna wrap my Chevy Bolt in some cool stickers. It's gonna look great. Anyway, I will definitely have dragons on the side. Anyway, look, this has been a very difficult week, I think, for America, for people in media too. Like, again, not to make it about me, but like I'm a pundit, and so seeing a pundit get shot down is like a special. I don't know him or anything, but like, and nobody wants to see political violence. And so, and then combine it with Trump and all these other people on Fox calling for civil war and all that. It's been a rough week. So, Waz, thank you for coming on and making the show fun and awesome to end the week. I really do appreciate it.
Much appreciated for you guys having me, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, that's it for this week. Brett will be back next Friday. In the meantime, I will be joining Jordan and Michael Shore on the first hour of the Young Turks to break down the news. I hope that you join us then. For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off, but we are joined by the one and only. Well, he's an actor, he's a comedian, wildly intelligent. I think your whole family is intelligent. We talked about this, right, Tehran? You have maybe a doctor. Is there an engineer? I mean, these are overachievers.
Two doctors,
I love this.
two business people, and then the self-proclaimed comedian who is the black sheep of the family. That's me.
Well, you keep everyone upbeat. Everybody needs a little comedy relief, yes?
I'm not even the funniest person in my family. That's my mom. My mom and dad are way funnier than I am. So I feel like a failure all the way around.
No,
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you.
No, don't you dare. We have you on here. So, I mean, this is proof that you've made it.
That's only because they weren't available. They asked them first. They literally asked them first. I was fifth in line. Fifth in line.
At least you know your place in the family, okay? And they're high achievers. So, I mean, the bar can only go so low. You're in there. What do you say we begin? America, the news is not good. America, look at your life. There's an update on Charlie Kirk's murder suspect. It's been identified and is now in custody. Here's what we have. Charlie Kirk's murder suspect identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. He is currently in custody in Utah. Listen.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point.
There you see the news conference there, open with the governor of Utah saying, we got him. Let's tell you more about the suspect. Daily Mail also reported the name of the suspect, cited reports from CNN and the New York Times. Sources telling CNN the suspected killer then confessed to his father. His father reportedly had worked for the Washington County Sheriff's Department. He then contacted authorities, secured his son before he could be taken into custody. The photo was allegedly taken before Robinson went off to college. See it there. Robinson is a registered voter in Utah, but does not have a party affiliation. New York Times reported that the suspect was taken into custody around 11 p.m. local time in southern Utah Thursday night. The alleged shooter lived in a 600,000 six-bedroom home in Washington, Utah, around 260 miles south of where the carnage unfolded in Orem. He became a prime suspect following identification through facial recognition investigative methods. He then confessed to his father. Items seen in the surveillance video from the shooting were also found on him, according to authorities. Now, photos of Robinson are now circulating the internet. People were quick to draw the comparison between the photo of Robinson wearing Converse in his dorm room and photos of the suspect at Utah Valley University. Robinson was allegedly familiarized with guns at a young age. See some of the footage, well, the pictures there. Officials released photos of the rifle found in a wooded area during their search. BBC reporting messages were found on bullet casings at the scene, including, "Hey, fascist, catch. And if you read this, you are gay. LMAO." The BBC's Mike Wendling says this could give possible clues to his motive. Tyler also allegedly wore a Trump costume for Halloween in 2017. So these are just basic details. Some, Tehran, I don't even know if what that's supposed to mean. Hey, fascist, the reference to gay, catch, something that they'll look more into. What's your takeaway on this? And specifically the speculation that I feel like people are craving to know why here, where tend to just stop it. If you go out of your way to do something like this, you're an extremist. And I'm not sure that we're ever going to get a real why. What do you think?
I think actually, Sharon, the why is extremely important because this goes to principle. For example, if the motive is that Charlie Kirk slept with Tyler Robinson's girlfriend, that's a very different why than Charlie Kirk's freedom of speech was impeded by a gunshot because Tyler Robinson, did not agree with Charlie Kirk. That is the fundamental principle of the United States, the freedom of speech. If you do not believe in the freedom of speech for those you disdain, then you do not believe in the freedom of speech. And that is something that we all need to live with. This is also going to be used to discuss college radicalization and all these types of things that are kicked around in the right wing, right, extreme right, far right mindset. This is also going to be used to say from liberals that this person was clearly radicalized because of their right or conservative views. We don't know. Motive is one of the imperative foundations of any case when it comes to murder, and this is clearly a murder. The only takeaway I truly have is if Tyler Robinson is a liberal, not only is this a slippery slope, but also that the liberals might have a chance in the Civil War. Like, I was always like, oh, the conservatives got this, but now the liberals might have a chance. But all jokes aside, this was an egregious, absurd, abhorrent, disgusting display of violence. And my condolences to the Kirk family.
Yeah. At the end of the day, after everything goes down, oh yeah, then we realize we're all human.
We are human.
Listen, I reserve the right to moonwalk back. I reversed myself. The motive is important. You're right. I guess what I was really thinking was, I don't want to hear it because I know it's going to be co-opted. I know it's going to be used, as you expertly laid out there, by this side, that side. It's just going to be morphed into whatever suits your fancy. And we are in a war. And maybe I'm just in a downer mood. So down towards the end of the week here. Why? I should be, but I just feel like free speech is already not just attacked, but it's lost. It's lost in some ways. Some major corners of America gone. I mean, if I'm going to be punished for saying certain things, if I'm going to not say other things like the media is doing, the media is right now not saying things that are just, look, when I just had this debate with my Republican friend, you would think I only have one because I always bring him up. But when Richard Nixon's legacy is talked about, can you do that without talking about Watergate? Strom Thurmond, right? He died in office, right? Guy was like 100 years old. He was respected. He was loved by many. He was put in office again and again, but he was also a segregationist. There was the Black daughter who was ignored and then spoke up, and they had that's all part of his story, right, Tehran? So I just feel like I'm so sick of this alternate reality. Charlie Kirk should be with his family today, saying whatever he chooses to say and taking the consequence of that speech. Maybe it's riches, maybe it's condemnation. I don't know. Well, I do. But he should be here. But this whole thing is going to be spun.
It is. It is. And it seems to be like, can we separate the art from the artist? We do that often. In this case, can we separate Charlie Kirk's rhetoric from his humanity? And so many people cannot, unfortunately. They are actually basically applauding this action. And I think that's egregious as well. These are the things that become a slippery slope in the destruction and implosion of civil society, is when we cannot go past our own wants and needs and selfishness to see the bigger picture. And that's kind of what's happening right now. And it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And I think because we've got these buckets, right, in America. There's no gray area. You're either this or that. And so I just feel restricted from reality. I said he should be here, but can we also talk about the climate and contributions to it? And that's for all of us, okay? The man should be here, but I just wish we could. We're a long way from the truth about Richard Nixon, Strom Thurmond, King. I just feel like that was eons ago instead of a few decades ago. Let's move on to this. We're staying on the story, an offshoot of it. Multiple HBCUs are on lockdown due to threats in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder. Here's an excerpt from NBC News.
Historically Black colleges and universities across the country are currently under lockdown after a slew of threats that were called in today. Moments ago, Spelman College announcing a shelter in place over the threats, including at Clark Atlanta University, which is near their campus.
Other HBCUs receiving threats today: Hampton University, Virginia State University, Alabama University, Bethune-Cookman University, and Southern University. The schools urging students to remain vigilant, saying these lockdowns will be in place until further notice.
So this is where we are. It's not one, not two, multiple HBCUs, multiple historically Black colleges, universities. They're on lockdown after receiving potential threats on Thursday, including Alabama State University, Virginia State University, Hampton in Virginia, Southern University in Louisiana, Clark, as NBC mentioned, in Atlanta. Spelman College, too, located near Clark Atlanta University, also implemented shelter-in-place protocols as a precautionary measure due to its proximity. The lockdown measures come in the wake of the shooting at Utah Valley University on Wednesday, where Charlie Kirk was killed at his speaking engagement on campus. This morning, the DNC headquarters also received a bomb threat. More violence, more threats. FBI released a statement regarding the threats on Thursday, saying federal investigators are aware of hoax threat calls to a number of historically Black institutions. The FBI takes these threats very seriously because it puts innocent people at risk, the agency said, adding that there is currently no information to indicate a credible threat. So while the FBI downplays those threats, the president, Donald Trump, says the radical left is to blame. The radical left is the true threat. Listen.
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
The last part, the last sentence, I think a lot of reasonable people could agree with. He seemed to skip over the president did some things. Plot on Gretchen Whitmer, right? Michigan governor, the lawmakers who were just murdered. Our side, your side. Here we go. Jonathan Chait of The Atlantic warning the most important move Trump made in his remarks was to define political violence as an exclusively left-wing tactic listing a series of events carefully selected to implicate his enemies and exonerate his allies. Trump's list goes back to 2017, the shooting of Steve Scalise, but it omits the shootings of 2 Democratic legislators at their homes earlier this summer. It does not mention the 2020 attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, or the brutal attack on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband in 2022, which Trump used again and again as a punchline to mock the victim. Notably, Trump's list ignores the shooting just 1 month ago at CDC headquarters, in which a man protesting COVID-19 vaccines fired more than 180 shots at the building and killed a police officer, but includes attacks on ICE agents, which have not involved gunfire. Trump, of course, handed out pardons to supporters who brutalized police officers on January 6, 2021. This week, his allies in the Senate defended his bestowal of military honors upon Ashley Babbitt. Remember her? She was shot trying to smash her way through the Capitol in the insurrection attempt. When asked by Fox News about the radical right, here is what President Donald Trump said.
Do about our country with that, because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on
So, what about the radical right? You might ask. Well, Fox actually asked about the right and their culpability as well. And here's what Donald Trump said.
We do about our country with that because we have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem.
Yeah, it's the left, the left, the left, the left. You see, he solved it. It's just one side. If you could just stop what you're doing on the left, there'd be no violence. And crime's also getting solved under his watch. So speaking of the radical far right influencers and violent extremists are posting identifying details about people they view as celebrating or glorifying the murder of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Campaign has been swift, widespread. It's already led to at least one person losing their job, others receiving death threats. People posting the identifying information include Chaya Raichik, who runs the hugely influential hate-filled Libs of TikTok account on X. Trump whisperer Lara Loomer. I mean, you know she was going to get in on it. And former Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarrio. You celebrate this, we're going to hunt you down. We're going to find you. We're going to ruin your life. Central hub of this activity is a website called Charlie's Murderers, which was registered in the early evening on the day Kirk was shot. It's revealing certain personal information, such as social media usernames, email addresses of individuals the operators believe were celebrating the horrific murder. Website asks people to submit a potential target's full name, location, employer information, as well as screenshots of incriminating social media posts via email. An About section on the website, added on Thursday morning, says this is not a doxing website. Website is a lawful data aggregator of publicly available information. It has been created for the purposes of public education. I mean, that sounds like something that when you click on Wikipedia, this is what Wikipedia says. We're here to just give you the facts and inform you. And by the way, donate. One of the first names listed on the site was Rachel Gilmore, an independent journalist at Bubble Pop Media, who wrote on X that she was terrified to think of how far-right fans of Kirk aching for more violence could very well turn this into an even more radicalizing moment. Well, they now believe their fears have been proven right and feel they have a right to retaliate, regardless of who actually was behind the initial shooting. I've gotten emails and DMs promising to find out where I live, Gilmore says. I have folks claiming my information is all over 4chan, telling me in the same breath that they hope I get, well, they want her assaulted and killed. Telling me to have fun walking the streets of my city, which they name. Quinn Huddleston, another name listed on the site, told Wired he has received countless messages since his name was published on the site, some urging him to take his own life. Huddleston also says that people have threatened his life, claiming to know where he lives. However, he points out that the information shared on the website was out of date, and as a result, the threats contained inaccurate information. I did not glorify anyone's death, says Huddleston. I don't believe political violence is the answer to anything on either side. They took a comment I made prior to Kirk even passing, and now, as radicals usually do, spin it to work for their agenda, whatever that may be. Prominent members of the MAGA movement are using Kirk's death to call for a civil war with leftists. They accuse of inciting violence. The Republican establishment, along with a fair number of Democrats, are mourning him as a martyr for the American values of debate and civic engagement. Even while some critics argue that he was divisive and extreme. Some of those critics have already faced severe consequences. And, well, you're looking at one. Matthew Dowd, political analyst for MSNBC, found himself out of a job swiftly on Thursday after on-air comments about Kirk in the immediate wake of the shooting, long before confirmation of Kirk's death. Dowd had observed in a Wednesday appearance on the liberal-leaning cable news channel that Kirk was, quote, constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech aimed at certain groups. He added, I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in. I almost want to read it again. Commentators asked a question, he answers it. Network, though, cut ties with Dowd. I mean, this was fast, folks. He apologized on his Blue Sky account. MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler issued a separate statement. During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable, she said. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. Dowd also had a university speaking engagement canceled. The irony of his termination, slew of similar firings over the past 24 hours, is that Kirk and Turning Point USA, the conservative youth group he co-founded, branded themselves as the ultimate defenders of free speech. Yet his supporters, regardless of their stated ideals of free expression and complaints about cancel culture, have been swift to extract retribution against those who have intimated Kirk was a dangerous ideologue or effectively brought a violent end upon himself. But the witch hunt is just led by far-right influencers. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau, top State Department, said in a Thursday Morning Post, in light of yesterday's horrific assassination of a leading political figure, I want to underscore that foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country. I've been disgusted to see some on social media praising, rationalizing, or making light of the event, and have directed our consular officials to undertake appropriate actions, Landau added. Please feel free to bring such comments by foreigners to my attention so that the State Department can protect the American people. From what? Speech, even ugly speech, angry speech, mean speech. I am particularly interested, Tehran, about the case of Matthew Dowd. No matter which side you're on, you've seen his face, respected, former George Bush, W. Bush aide. I'm trying to figure out what he apologized for and what he was fired for. What is your take?
Well, he was fired for the exact same thing that I'm fighting for respect for Charlie Kirk's death for, which is the freedom of speech. He was fired because he said something that they felt might have been viewed as controversial, even though at the time it was a very valid statement that a opponent could possibly have. That is what they're there to do. They're there to discuss things. And at times, when you're discussing things in real time, things don't play out because hindsight is always 2020. At that time, it came off something much later, which seemed much darker than what it really was. So he was fired for that. He was fired to save an executive's job. He was fired to save face. He was fired so that there wasn't backlash. The eggshells that we walk on are the things we're actually crumbling under. We need to stop doing that. Cancel culture has gotten out of control, and it is making it so that people cannot or do not feel free to express themselves freely. There's a difference between disrespect, hate speech, and violent speech. Disrespectful speech is something that we need to understand. Your feelings are arbitrary when it comes to freedom of speech. Just because you're offended does not mean you're right. On the flip side, just because you're offensive doesn't mean that you're profound. There is a fine line, and we need to find that balance.
I guess I just, again, here we are. What about just truth? He's a commentator who did not make profound statements here. He was asked about the climate and the discourse. And he said Kirk was constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech aimed at certain groups. Where's the lie? He added, I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in. See, the environment we're in is you can't say the sky is blue. You can't analyze something in a very basic way. Again, I wouldn't even pay him for that comment. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's not profound. He looked out the window, he saw what he saw, and he regurgitated it. Fired. This is the dangerous climate we're living in, where someone who proudly believed, pushed certain things. I mean, Charlie Kirk said really wild things proudly. He had a right to say them, and he had millions of people who believed, agreed, cheered, 1 million a day, something like that, watch his podcast. He loved this. He loved the debate, rigorous debate, angry debate. He had fun in ways that some people found offensive. We can't even tell the truth now. And why bother to go outside, Tehran? Why? This is ridiculous. That's why I asked you what he said that he was apologizing for and what he got fired for, because I honestly can't figure it out.
I think most people are trying to wrap their heads around everything that happened. When tragedy strikes, oftentimes we make things more tragic by our overreaction and our inactions to said tragedy. So people are just lashing out. They're angry, they're upset, they're tired. And to be very fair, the president of the United States, the leader who's supposed to unite us, is doing more to divide us than ever. It's almost as if this president wants to lead us towards a civil war. It's, let's blame the radical left, let's forget the radical right. When it came to Nazis, there were good and bad people on both sides. But when it came to this point of view, when we clearly have seen crimes in the past by the radical right, those are all forgiven, whether it's January 6th or shootings or the Hortman and Hoffman or whatever it is, those are all understandable and justifiable. The radical left is the problem. You are the president to all of us, sir. You are the president to all of us. We have HBCUs under attack because of a lot of your rhetoric. Please understand this. This is not a movie. This should not be higher learning. Great movie, by the way. Omar Epps, Tyra Banks at their finest.
Loved it.
But loved the movie, hated the premise. That is what we're lending ourselves towards. This is the first shot that seems to be fired in the slippery slope of an avalanche that we will not be able to recover from. Please understand, this is not your moment to disdain. It's your moment to shine.
Wow. Well said. And I think the empathy is real. I was on with Cenk and John right after we learned main show. Charlie Kirk had passed away, been murdered. And I felt overwhelming empathy and sympathy. And this is gross. And by the way, you can stop saying this is not who we are, America. It is absolutely who we are. It's absolutely who we are. So if you're thinking of putting that on a t-shirt, someone out there, it's dead. It's we are there. It's absolutely, this is America, 100%, red, white, and blue. And it's a sickness. And you're right. It seems as though President Trump, remember, he said this even before the suspect, he's made several statements. The one this morning that we played for you, but also he said things yesterday along the same lines. I don't know where we go from here, but I have my suspicions about whether there'll be more slow singing and flower bringing, because this is America. There's this one as well, out of Colorado. Another American shooting. High school shooter radicalized by extremist network. On Wednesday, gunfire broke out at Evergreen High School in Colorado. Sheriff's office confirmed the suspect has died, and now he's been identified. 16 years old. His name, Desmond Holly. Watch.
Tonight, at least 2 students in critical condition after a shooting outside their Colorado high school.
All fire departments respond on an active assailant, Evergreen High School.
The shots reported just after noon on campus grounds. Hundreds of officers rushing to the scene west of Denver.
2 patients with CPR need another ambulance to all of them.
Authorities say the suspect is a juvenile and believed to be a student at the school.
Honestly, I don't know if our suspect is old enough to even drive.
The suspect was also injured and taken to the hospital. Officials saying police never fired their weapon. Ring camera footage from a house near the school shows students running away in a panic, some of them reaching out to their parents by phone.
Running away in a panic, but I can assure you, because of the age we live in, long time since Columbine, remember that? They had drills. They actually prepared for this scenario. That's how often it happens. 16-year-old student who authorities say opened fire at his Colorado high school on Wednesday, wounding 2 classmates and turning the gun on himself, was believed to be radicalized by some extremist network, officials with the local sheriff's office said. 3 students were taken to the hospital, critical condition, following the gunfire, including the suspected shooter who was injured by that self-inflicted gunshot wound, the sheriff's office said. Officers never opened fire. That's how quick it happens, right? Sometimes they don't even get a chance to respond. Officials determined the weapon was a revolver. It's fired a lot. Shots could be seen fired at windows, lockers, authorities said on Thursday. Suspect allegedly went through the school trying to find new targets, but came upon roadblocks. Doors were locked. He could not keep shooting victims, the sheriff's department said. Doors are locked because that's protocol too. That's how many of these mass shootings we've had. While authorities are still looking into the shooter's motive, they believe he was radicalized by some extremist network and that he had a mission, officials said. Authorities said they're trying to better understand that network, searching his phone, home, locker to learn more on who he was communicating with before the shooting. Sheriff's office on Thursday said no one has been released from the hospital, despite earlier reports from hospital officials saying one of the injured had been released. Previously, authorities said on Wednesday a 4th student who also transported to the hospital with an unknown injury. But the sheriff's office said on Thursday they think it's just 3 who were injured. And that's news to celebrate, right? Because we've seen it where there's a whole lot of other victims and parents rushing to schools, hoping to get news that their child is one of the lucky ones. FBI Director Kash Patel said this in a statement on Thursday. An evidence response team and other specialty resources have been deployed as part of our response to this incident. Most importantly, our thoughts continue to be with the 2 victims injured in the shooting and all those who have been impacted by this horrific attack, Patel said in a post shared on X. Investigators say they have been in contact with the suspect's family as officials are looking into the ownership of the weapon. Unclear if this was a targeted or random attack, officials said. So I pause with the FBI director's statement there. Tehran, you probably know why, because it's appropriate, but it's like this it's the same statement. He didn't say prayers, but he did say thoughts. Our thoughts are with you. Our thoughts are with you. Our thoughts are with you. There is something fiercely wrong when a 16-year-old, not that a 16-year-old acts out. I mean, they're 16. Hormones, bullying, whatever else is going on at home, perhaps, maybe, I don't know, everywhere. You're 16, you're mad at the world, you feel restricted. You don't have the control over your own decisions, not enough of them. And sometimes it's straight up mental health challenges. But that doesn't explain the blowing your own brains out and, oh yeah, before that, shooting up the school. Isn't it an easy solution to stop these mass shootings, regardless of 16-year-olds who are perhaps temporarily out of control or radicalized? I think it is.
I think we need to talk about what are those magic words? Yes, gun control. Can we talk about that? We have so many restrictions on the freedom of speech, the First Amendment. And yet, when we ask for regulation on the Second Amendment, all of a sudden we become un-American. How is that? Why is that? Where is that actually happening? We need to talk about these things. People love talking about gun violence in big cities like Los Angeles and New York City. However, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama have the most gun deaths by far, and they have the less restricted gun laws by far. That's a conversation. Those are the statistics we need to look at. This is another case of children shooting children. We need to talk about this. Why is this happening? Preventative measures, education. These are things that can all be handled. We can prevent these. And before anyone talks to me about, well, they're going to do it anyway, they're criminals, they're going to do it anyway, then that's actually an argument against all laws in general. That's just an argument against laws in general, because criminals will always find a way. We can restrict, we can rehabilitate, we can prevent, we can do all the things that we need to do to save our children. Especially, I want to see some of those pro-lifers. When you love pro-life when it comes to abortion, but you don't care about the kids once they get into school, you don't care about the kids once they get into college, you don't care about the kids once they go to prison, then you're not a pro-lifer. That is not what you are.
I couldn't agree more. And I look at it this way. If we just mitigate this ridiculous dumping of guns throughout America, more guns than citizens, right? I mean, they're all over the place. Would that not allow us to pay more attention to kids who if we could just end this stupid, it's no debate about gun control. It's a fake debate, right? Most Americans say, of course, duh. Don't you lock your door at night? It's we know what the issue is. But if we could just get rid of this fake, financially incentivized dumping of guns, we could pay more attention. I look at your family that I teased you about because everyone's a winner, right? What is the secret sauce that, I mean, okay, you're smart, good genes, but what kind of attention did you get from your family nurturing? And I'm not suggesting it's just, the breakdown of the family or this, that. But I really think people, if we just got back to basics now.
You know, in my family, my parents, they did this thing, which I think is extremely important. They parented. They literally parented. They were there. They were supportive. They were preventative. They were educating us. They were loving us. They punished us when we did something wrong. They did all the things parents or good parents are supposed to do. So that is really the answer, is that we need to parent. And unfortunately, not everybody is parented the same. In fact, just like TK Kirkland, comedian, says, who raised you? And that's why we need to always look back and see where the parents came in, what part they played, and how this works out. How do we stop this from happening and getting out of control? And if we're saying there isn't a problem, then why does this not happen in other countries? Why is this not happening in Australia or the UK? Oh, they don't have guns. Well, what about Canada? Canada has lots of guns, and yet not a lot of school shootings. We need to realize there is a problem in the United States. There is a violence problem, and that we need to stop burying our heads in the sand and find an actual solution, or this will keep happening.
Preserve the future, America. If it takes a village, the village is hurting. Village is hurting. Tehran, love having you with us. Love your insight. Love. I could use your wit today. I was happy that they said, "Oh, you're with Tehran," because we need your wisdom and for you to uplift us. I'd love to talk to your parents to see if you got corporal punishment or what you got in trouble for.
They
Just the
guilted us.
secrets.
They guilted us into success.
Oh,
They
that's
guilted
the
us. They
worst.
used look. It wasn't the
Yeah.
punishments. There was no hitting. It was the look. Once you got the look, you knew what it was.
Yeah.
I used to get hit for things other kids did. Like, I'd be at the grocery store with my mom, and another kid would do something, and she'd be like, "Don't even think about it." And I'd be like,
That's
"I
right.
wasn't. It wasn't even me. It wasn't even me."
Preventative.
Exactly.
I love it. Good people. This is indisputable. We'll get to some of your comments and much more. We've got some big stories for you coming up. Stay with us.
Indisputable exclusive. Exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Indisputable exclusive.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Tehran is with us. What are you up to? Are you touring? What's going on?
I'm always touring. I'll be in San Francisco next week. Hopefully my voice will come back. I've been doing so many shows that I've just lost my voice. The week after, I'll be in Arizona, then back on the road, Boston, Washington, D.C., New York is on the way.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to everywhere. Atlanta, can't wait to be in Atlanta. I'll see you in October.
Come through.
You better be there. You better be there.
What about some honey? I think if you just do good honey, not the fake stuff, maybe that'll help. I mean, it's not helping. We have you on and I have you talking and I keep asking these follow-ups. You're trying to preserve your voice. So I apologize in advance, but we needed you today. I told you that. Because of everything that's going on in the world. I would say that you could take comfort in the fact that as much as things have changed and they've gotten so vile and they're just the last couple of years, we've just seen so much. But then other things stay the same, don't they? And even if it annoys us, you can at least take comfort in the fact that certain things will not change. Certain people won't change. They're going to be in the neighborhood, peeking around the corner, confronting you, asking you for your ID. Okay. That may comfort some of you because at least they're doing what they've always done. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Curse.
You don't have to touch the car. You're in front of my property. You're in front of my property. Go call the cops. Your property's across the street. Go across the street, man.
Right. No, man. I'm not a man.
I said, ma'am. You can't hear? Turn on your
I don't have a hearing aid.
You need one.
No, I don't.
You need one.
You're a real punk, aren't you?
You came over here bothering us. We over here working, man.
I don't care.
Ma'am, we're working.
I don't care.
Go call the police if you're gonna call the police.
Where's your husband?
Go call them.
No, he's inside.
Oh, she came over here bugging.
Okay, but he lives here, so this is in front of his
This is my property.
Stop talking.
Like, what is she talking about?
Who are your parents?
I'm a grown-ass man. What is you talking about?
Where do they live?
I'm a grown man.
Here.
This is my house. What happened?
What? The top of the bottom.
What happened? This is my house. You don't have to explain nothing to her. Blow your window up before I volley.
Feels like home, doesn't it? Here we have OG Karen, fresh off of her morning Ensure drink. So she's feeling energetic. And here she is harassing a Black couple just sitting in their car, policing the block, self-deputized, right? She's armed with her AARP card and a badge. Who knows? She might have been packing. I don't know. Thank goodness she didn't pull it out. What do you make of grandma on a mission here, Tehran? And I'm one who tends to, even when they say the wrong thing, they color outside the lines. When you're a senior, I try my best to show some respect to those who older came before me. But that's to a point, yo.
All right. I like how the yo came out, okay? I felt that. First of all. Second of all, this is clearly a seasoned Karen. This was not her first go around. She hit the answers. She knew what to say. She was quick with the I don't have a hearing aid. She knew everything. She wanted this confrontation. For all we know, this is how she comes alive. She gets on her Depends. She comes out there after watching Golden Girls, and she is ready to go. Let's not look at her age. Let's look at her experience. This is the go-to Karen. She goes and puts out pamphlets on how to Karen. She's policed the block before. She knows those people live across the street. She saw them when they were moving in, but she wants to make sure this isn't a cousin, this isn't a nephew, this is an actual biological member of a person who's supposed to live here. And even if they're not, you don't own the street, ma'am, but it doesn't matter because she owns the world. The world is hers. Don't take that away from her. She only has 4 summers left in her life. Let her enjoy the summer. Let her enjoy this Karen. Let her enjoy being the person that she's really not.
Okay. And I think you're right. And so I want to follow up with you. If age ain't nothing to a Karen, is it true, like the politician who won't leave office, the sports star who always wants to come back for one more season instead of riding off into the sunset? Do Karens ever retire?
That's so funny. Like that is top level. That is top level humor. Yeah, Karens, you don't want to let it go. She's the Tom Brady of being a Karen. And you know what's crazy? How did she know that these people were? She didn't have her glasses on. She doesn't have great eyesight. You know how hard it is to see someone from across the street in that car with those tinted windows that were up and they had air conditioning on? They were working in the car. She put in effort for this. Oh, I appreciate you. You Alex Rodriguez, you Derek Jeter, you LeBron of Karens. I salute you. Thank you for your service.
Damn. Forget the pension. She's active duty, Karen, and she ain't going nowhere, okay? Just let her go on and patrol the neighborhood. Watch out when she downs another Ensure Boost. Is it Boost that so many? I mean, it's the protein, it's energy, it's a supplement, right? And I suspect that she just downed one. I want to know what's going on with this problematic ex-GOP congressman. Again, Madison? Again? Madison Cawthorn, arrested again. Let's tell you why. According to Mediaite, former GOP Representative Madison Cawthorn, who is reportedly planning a political comeback. Well, hey, He was arrested for failing to appear in court. Cawthorn was first elected to the House in 2020. He was just 25, lost in 2022, the Republican primary, after he ran afoul of congressional GOP leadership. Do you recall? No, Madison. Let's give you details of the latest arrest. He was arrested Wednesday in Cape Coral, Florida. Warrant issued in Collier County. Former lawmaker was due to appear in court after he was cited by police in Naples for driving without a license on August 19th. Cawthorn was released on a $2,000 bond. That arrest comes less than a week after Axios reported Cawthorn was angling to return to Congress, this time as a representative from Florida's 19th district. The seat is currently occupied by Representative Byron Donalds. He's leaving Congress to run for governor of Florida. Republican leadership gradually soured on Cawthorn during his tumultuous lone term in March 2022. He alleged that other members of Congress invited him to a cocaine-fueled orgy in D.C. No wonder he wants to get back there. No wonder. April 2022, police body cam video showed a pulled over Cawthorn insisting he was unaware that he did not own the vehicle he was driving. Later that month, he was busted for carrying a gun at an airport for the second time in 9 months. May 2022, Cawthorn admitted a video showing him. I just want to make sure, put my glasses on. I mean, it's a mirror, folks. Okay, so I'm going to read what the esteemed production staff put in front of me. Video showing him dry humping another man in bed was authentic. Look, I don't care how you get down. It's your business, okay? It's your business. Whatever floats your boat, whoever your partner is or partners, I really don't care. Although it is a little interesting. Madison is troubled. That is not a profound statement, Tehran. What is the need to keep coming back to the political spotlight? Has he not, well, he's damaged his reputation. He's also unwell, it seems. He's constantly in trouble.
Well, first of all, I think you answered your own questions with the cocaine-induced parties in Washington, D.C. Who would like to get over that? That's basically, he's trying to get back in that Diddy circle that happens to be in the Washington, D.C. realm, number one. Number two, it's also because he has some type of ego-driven narcissism, which makes him think he's above the law, which is why, and the only reason why someone would take a gun, not once, but twice to the airport. Fine. He's has a gun, he's a gun owner, he forgets it the first time. But the second time, at this point, you're doing it on purpose. Also, failure to appear is actually something that's more on your lawyer than it is on you. However, it is conceivable that he knew and just did not care. That's what the problem is. And that's what's problematic about him becoming a congressman. Now, I would like to say that I think he's a perfect congressman for the 19th District of Florida because he represents his constituents. This is Florida, after all. Who hasn't dry humped another male? Who hasn't taken a gun to the airport 2 or 3 times? Who hasn't done any of these things? It is Florida man. Let's elect Florida man back into Congress.
I mean, if he wants to get back there so badly, can't Matt Gaetz represent him? Isn't Matt Gaetz a lawyer? I mean, somebody, I don't even know if he has a lawyer, because usually when something like this happens, your lawyer issues a statement. Instead, it's just, the mugshot, weary eyes. We wish you well, Congressman, ex-congressman.
Let's not go that far. We wish him.
We really don't.
We don't wish him harm. We don't wish him harm.
Get the help that's required.
That's true.
Okay. Stay off the police blotters, if you will. This is Indisputable. I promise we'll get to some of your comments. Sharon Reed alongside Tehran, who's touring in a city near you. Much more to come.
Indisputable exclusive, disputable exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc is off today. Sharon and Tehran are here. Tehran, our special guest co-host today. And not only do we need you, Tehran, and your humor, your wit, your charm, your family stories, we need the people at home to weigh in now. So let's get to some of your comments. TYT members first. Teo 1790 says, is she law enforcement? Referring to the OG Karen policing the block and confronting some Black people who were just seated in the car. She believes she is law enforcement. And matter of fact, wherever she goes, she is the law. I can tell you, okay? This is how they think. Let's see here. Purple Rain Dragon. The arrest can only help Cawthorn. They love a criminal. You know what? You're right. And so is Tehran, because that's the point you were making, right? That he's perfect for Congress right now. Keep getting arrested, you know? Hey. Felony, no. Misdemeanor, not sure. Just show up. Let's get this taken care of so you can get your campaign back on track. Lynn says, Karen needs to be more like her husband. He's inside He doesn't want to get involved. Do you think, Tehran, that the husband was peeking out the window like, there she goes again? He's used to it. He knows her.
I think the husband was the one rooting for her to do this because that means that he gets some time alone while she's out because she don't go nowhere. She's at home carrying him the whole day. So she got out the house and he was like, thank you. He was out there. He was watching BET as soon as she left. He was like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to watch this. So I'm
Got her
glad
out of his hair.
he got some free time. I'm glad he got
I think that's probably the perfect scenario. Guam will capsize dragon, says Karen's never pull the you don't belong here card inside places, only outside. Everyone belongs outside. I hear Kendrick Lamar. YouTube, let's give you a couple more. RJL Network, well, back to work. Have a great weekend. You too. I hate that you're working right now instead of just continuing on with us, but I get it. Got to pay the bills. Insane UPS driver says that's when you crank the stereo and close the window. That's what I would have done. You just close the window. I'm not even gonna. At first, I would have rolled down the window, Tehran. I thought, well, isn't this nice little grandma? I like grandmas, right? Nice would be nice. And as soon as she started investigating, bye-bye. Bye-bye. We're going to move on to this one now. California. They're doing their part, not just laying down, but fighting back. And now California lawmakers have passed a ban on ICE and cops from covering their faces. In the wake of mass immigration raids, we've seen masked and unidentified officers on patrol. Watch this.
You may have seen pictures in recent months of ICE agents making immigration arrests in public spaces. Some wearing street clothes, using unmarked cars, and covering their faces with masks. But there's a related headline. A handful of arrests.
All right, we are having just some slight difficulties there. We'll get it together.
There was a mask on the video.
Yeah.
It was like, they wear so many masks. It's just a mask on the video. So
everybody's in the dark. Let's see if we can cue that up for you again. Nope. We're just going to talk about it. Here's the deal, folks. So many of these mass ICE agents, and remember, they expanded. They said, hey, we will reduce some of the requirements. We'll let you just join, bonuses for everybody. And we won't even show our faces. Well, California lawmakers say, no, you're not going to do that here. And they passed a bill to ban ICE agents from wearing masks. You need to show your face. California legislature on Thursday passed a pair of bills to prohibit on-duty law enforcement officers. This includes federal immigration officers from masking their faces. If you're going to do it proudly. I want to see more than just the whites of your eyes. California lawmakers on Thursday sent Governor Gavin Newsom legislation that would ban federal immigration agents from wearing masks while conducting raids throughout the state. Politico filling in the details. Legislation passed by Democrats over Republican objections in this deep blue state would prohibit ski masks, other face coverings for local and federal law enforcement, as well as officials from other states operating in California. Remember, the president is calling on other states. Texas, Greg Abbott loves to send in the Texas National Guard to assist. So that's made for you too. Senate Bill 627, written by Senators Scott Wiener, Democrat out of San Francisco, Jesse Aragon, Democrat out of Berkeley, includes exceptions for SWAT teams and others. Measure was introduced after the Trump administration ordered immigration raids throughout the Los Angeles area earlier this year. Another bill that would require law enforcement to wear badges or name tags identifying themselves was also on track to advance from the Capitol on Thursday. Gavin Newsom now has a month to decide whether to sign or veto the mask bill. Newsom has publicly questioned whether the state has the authority to regulate federal law enforcement. And that's the rub, right? You're in my state. Do you have the right to do this when you're with the federal government who has the autonomy to act here? Well, it used to be that governors call in the National Guard. So somehow that changed. What do you think about this, Tehran? I do think that we in the public, if you're going to be confronted by someone, you should at least be able to fully identify them, name tag something. I mean, sometimes they're in uniform, sometimes they're in plain clothes. I don't know if you're trying to disappear me and you're not with the feds. You're perhaps with a criminal entity. Some would argue one and the same.
I'm going to say I have a dissenting thought on this and a different opinion. First of all, what law enforcement does, what ICE immigration officers do, is actually a very difficult job. And while I do not like particularly how they're doing their job right now, I do understand the need for an immigration enforcement. I do understand the need for police and policing, especially when it comes to the good ones. Now, their job is extremely dangerous. There are times where dangerous actions considered dangerous measures and things of this nature. What I don't like about this is the tit for tat and the back and forth ping pong games of politics that they're playing with the individual citizens' lives. These are dangerous precedents that are being set. Now, what I mean by that is the state's impunity over a federal agent and vice versa. How does that actually play out? Does the state actually enforce the law? And when they do enforce the law, what actually happens? This is a precedent that gets set and it causes more conflict than it does solutions for this problem. Do I think ICE agents should have their faces covered? I personally do not. I think that they should have their faces uncovered and go after the people face to face. But I do understand that they have, first of all, protection. Second of all, the way we didn't want individuals to be doxxed, we don't want them to be doxxed as well. Third of all, there are times where police enforcement does need to have their face covered, whether they're going in after a narcos or they're going in after something even more dangerous or they're a SWAT team. There are times. So the problem with the law is that it's one size fits all. So once you make a law, you establish a precedent. And once you establish a precedent, that is a domino of all directions that you do not know where they lay and where they may fall until something happens to you.
Yeah. I think it's a difficult thing. You know, I'm not a lawyer. You can probably call one in your family.
I went to law school.
Okay, so you know this stuff.
Yes.
You see that?
I understand. I'm saying it from that point of view. I'm saying it from the point of view of a legal standpoint where this is a dangerous game that both the president and the governors are playing. The governor obviously vying for his possible presidential candidacy. And so these games they play seem to play out in a political arena, but they do affect us, the individual citizen, in the long run. They do affect us. We saw one time when a law and a reversal of it affected us when it came to Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court. That was supposed to just be a domino. Let's see how this falls. And then we saw where it fell, where this is another one. Sending in the National Guard. All these things are ideas that may even be good in nature or good in concept, which I don't think they are. But how they play out ultimately would determine how we, the individual citizen, gets played.
I think you're right. And part of the biggest problem is, again, as I mentioned, normally the governor would call in the National Guard or, I know we're talking about ICE here, but at the end of the day, state, federal, not working together. In fact, opposed, right? Very oppositional. And it's a work in progress as Gavin Newsom and his, what's that X account that he has that is a parody and attacks and trolls Trump. Interesting stuff as he kind of navigates these political waters. This is indisputable. Doc has the day off. Sharon Reed alongside Tehran. Much more to come. We hope you'll stay with us.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted piloted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside attorney Tehran. I forget that you wear all these different hats and you're quite well-rounded. And if I need an attorney, a
Don't
legal
call
take.
me. Do not call me. Legal take, possibly a decent opinion. I have a master's in economics. Don't ask me to invest your money. I mean, academia and practical are very two different things. And I got out of that world to do comedy because I wanted to bring smile to people's faces instead of tears to people's eyes.
Well, you're doing it. You're doing it. Let's give you another quick comment. Y'all and that Karen, Granny Karen, you're very interested in what makes her tick. Insane UPS driver says that's when you crank the stereo, close the window. Maybe I read that one before, but it was worth it again. I wish they would have just started blasting, I don't know who, Drake or Kendrick in that instance.
It's Kendrick.
It's Kendrick for sure. Yeah.
But
she wouldn't have handled that.
You need to play something like F the Police. You need to play something that just antagonizes her even more, you know?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Let's give you this next one. I am curious what you'll make of this. In the mood for a cruise? A man jumps off a cruise ship to allegedly avoid a $16,000 gambling debt. Royal Caribbean cruise ship passenger jumps overboard near the port of San Juan to allegedly avoid a $16,000 gambling debt. He's now been charged with a federal crime, authorities said. What on earth were you thinking? Well, we'll tell you. You see some of the footage there, apprehended. Jay Gonzalez-Diaz embarked on the Rhapsody of the Seas at the port of San Juan, August 31st. That sounds wonderful, Rhapsody of the Seas. According to a criminal complaint filed Sunday in the U.S. District Court for the District of Puerto Rico. Cruise ship returned from Barbados on Sunday when Gonzalez-Diaz jumped into the water as the ship disembarked around 9:15 a.m. local time. During U.S. Customs and Border Protection inspection, the criminal complaint said. Gonzalez-Diaz was then brought to shore by someone passing by on a jet ski. The moment was captured on surveillance video, CBP P officers later located Gonzalez Diaz near the Puerto Rico Capitol building, court documents said. Now, he was carrying $14,600 in cash, 2 phones, and 5 IDs. As stated in the complaint, Gonzalez Diaz told officers in Spanish that he jumped off the cruise ship because he did not want to report the currency on his possession because he thought he was going to be taxed duties for bringing in the currency. So this is what you decided, homie? I'll just jump overboard. Upon further investigation, Royal Caribbean told investigators that Gonzalez Diaz was booked under the name Jeremy Diaz, and that he owed $16,710.24 to the cruise line, according to the complaint. The debt was almost exclusively associated to casino and gaming expenses, the complaint said. Other record checks of Gonzalez Diaz's multiple identifications also revealed that a Jeremy Omar Gonzalez Diaz has been in federal custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center, also in Puerto Rico. That since January, according to the complaint. What on earth is going on here? Jay Gonzalez Diaz told investigators that it was his brother. Oh, you dirty now. When they asked him for his full name, he told investigators, if you guys were good at your job, you would know that. This guy is something else. Jay Gonzalez Diaz was later released on bail. Local media, WAPA TV reported. If convicted, Jay Gonzalez Diaz could face a fine up to $250,000 or a max 5-year prison sentence, or both. It was not immediately clear if he has legal representation. So he's made some poor decisions, Tehran. Didn't pay his gambling debts, jumped overboard, got smart with the cops. If you guys were good at your job, you would know that when they asked him what his name was. And he may or may not have a lawyer. You weigh in and tell me your assessment of his predicament.
Well, I feel like we're unfairly judging this guy. We've all been there. Second of all, he owed the money. He jumped off the ship. He didn't want to pay taxes. We've all done that. But lastly, I think we should show respect to the future congressman of the 19th district of Florida, which he is running for. And that is the thing we need to understand. Thank you so much.
And we appreciate it. So perhaps we should just hang our hats on this. He's decisive. That's maybe what he could run on. He made a decision and he went for it. And he saw it through.
Some people say they're going to jump from the ship. He actually does. You know, he's the guy. Some people say they're going to crash out. He crashes all the way out. This guy is the guy, you know? And it's not just him, it runs in the family. They are a family of go-getters and no-hitters. And I feel like we should all respect this family. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Quickly, I know you said you left that life behind. If you were called upon to represent him, what defense might you give?
I think, first of all, everyone's entitled to a legal defense in this country, no matter what. Secondly, I think that we need to realize that within a jury of his peers, he's getting off. If you ask 12 people like him, they might prosecute the police and the ship. They're like, what were you doing? You let him on the ship. You let him gamble. By the way, when he jumped right into, didn't his money get wet? Like what happened?
And the phones.
I need to understand. Like everything he had got wet. Like it got destroyed. So that's
Gonzalez Diaz made a decision. I agree that if I were on the jury, I'd probably say this isn't even worth it. I'm gonna let you go home.
Exactly.
I'm gonna let you live to jump another day.
Exactly.
Tehran, remind us where we can find you, your incredible work. We appreciate you. You do acting, you do it all.
I do it all. Find me every Thursday at the Laugh Factory, 10 p.m. It is Tehran Thursday, where we talk about the realest truths in the funnest ways. So make sure to come check it out. Hopefully I'll have my voice back by this weekend. I'm having shows in San Francisco, Arizona, Boston, DC, Atlanta, all coming up very soon. And most importantly, to Mr. Gonzalez, thank you so much for your service, sir. some people they want to be a Puerto Rican or a Puerto Ricant, and he showed you which one he was. I love that guy.
He's a go-getter. More power to him. We appreciate you. And it's always fun being on with you. Love Tehran. And we love you. Best audience in the universe. And we appreciate your comments. And we hope you'll join us again.